And welcome to another episode of If It's in the Mind, It Can Be Managed, the Mind Management Mentors podcast. Welcome to 2026. I know there's been a few podcasts already, but this is actually the first of filming in 2026 with a fantastic guest today. We're not going to introduce you just yet because I want to set a little bit of a premise of how powerful this podcast is going to be. And the reason it's going to, because this is an unknown area that the second we got chatting, Andrew was like, oh, we need to do a podcast on this because this will help coaches and businesses genuinely be able to change their business model because it is a minefield. Everything about coaching and starting your coaching business, the actual easiest part of becoming a coach is doing the coaching certification. It's super easy. But how do you build that business? And that is the absolute minefield anyone's going through, as I've gone through. And I think this is going to be fantastic. You're muted, Andrea. Before I introduce you, you're actually muted. So introduce yourself, Andrea, as if you are on Blind Date. Do you know Blind Date, the game show? What's your name? Where you from?
Yes. So, hello, I am Andrea Gross, founder of Little Nudge Marketing. I specialize in email marketing automation to help small businesses connect better with their audiences and grow their businesses. I am based in the Netherlands, but serve businesses worldwide.
That's amazing. And the reason it's amazing is I don't do this. And I've been like, where do you start with all this? Where do you actually start with all this? And when we chatted, I'm like, we need to do a podcast on this. So today is, and you actually said, don't ask me about this, but we're going to start with this because I think this is a really powerful part. So it's not that I'm asking a taboo subject. It's you do not do cold emailing, just scraping people's data and sending out emails to them to hopefully get a lead. That's not what you do, and that's why this is different.
Correct. Yeah. And the biggest reason I don't email people unless they have explicitly given permission is because that is the fastest way to get someone to mark your email as spam and tank your sender reputation. And your sender reputation is basically what tells all the email providers, Gmail, Yahoo, whoever, that you are a legitimate business. So if you have a bunch of people marking your emails as spam, your emails will get delivered to junk folders or they won't get delivered at all. So that is the reason I really focus on getting permission from the end user before ever sending email messages.
And that's where we're going to start. So my understanding, again, I've been a coach for about 5 years, and there's always something new coming at us. And this is not a new way of doing things. And I remember Brendan Burchard, a coach I did follow for a while, was like the best way to build your business is through email. People check their emails. I'm actually going to start it with the amount of things I've signed up for with a fake email because I just don't want the extras. I mean, I've genuinely got an email I don't look at that all the emails go to now. Now, I'm surely not the only person that does that.
No, you're not. And it is a kind of common thing because of companies sending out blast emails and irrelevant content and things that you're probably just not really interested in, especially if the original goal of you putting in your email address to begin with was to, say, receive a free ebook. Maybe you just wanted the information in that ebook so you could have time to digest that content and then decide whether or not you wanted to continue with the services from that company. So yes, it is very, very common. And that's when, as an email marketer, it's my job to monitor my lists and make sure I'm removing those fake email addresses or the people who have not been engaging with content. Because again, sending emails to people who just aren't interested will damage the sender reputation because they're not engaging.
I did have somebody send me 3 emails in a day, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? Serious.
Too much.
And by the way, this is a friend, and I was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you actually doing? And I'm just like, that's delete, delete, delete. I think he had another program coming up, and I'm like, nah, just it's too much. So me as a consumer and a customer, what's the psychology that Andrea puts in place to make sure that you drive a bigger return on investment, knowing the downsides to email marketing? I think that's a really good question and a really good place to start. So, Andrea, I'm coming to you and I'm going, right, Andrea, I've got a course platform that I would like to drive people to the course platform that I have which is true. I've got 15 courses on there that's going to help people go from beginner to advanced in coaching and trauma therapy. I'm going to come to you, Andrea. Andrew, where do we start? What do we do?
The very first thing we start with is making sure that you have an explicit opt-in on all of your forms. So if someone selects one of your programs and says, yes, I'm going to buy this program, we need to make sure that there's a checkbox on that form that says, basically, yes, I want to receive marketing communications. That's kind of step one. If they don't click that box, we're not going to send them any marketing emails. We're just going to send them the paid receipt from that course. That's all we're going to do. If they do click that box, then we can say, okay, they do want to learn about other courses. So we can send them an email in, say, 2 or 3 weeks, hey, did you enjoy this course? Here are some other courses you might be interested in. And then they are more likely to want to open that email and potentially purchase additional courses. The psychology for me is first understanding that there's a lot of competition in the inbox.
Of course.
So sending 3 or more emails a day, it's just noise. The other big thing is putting yourself in the end user's shoes and thinking, why should I care? What does this do for me? Once you are able to answer those, you're able to start providing more relevant content. And then that's when you start seeing the improved engagement and the improved ROI.
I love it. I'm learning already. Genuinely, Andrea, I'm learning already. So, explain a lead magnet. I'm guessing you're going to start with a lead magnet, right?
Yeah, generally you would start with a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is anything that will get a person to provide you their contact information so that you can continue a conversation. Oftentimes, the most successful ones I've seen is when you're giving something in return for that email address. So if you're an e-commerce store, maybe you're giving a 10% off of a purchase. If you're, more like what you do, Cuddy, if you're providing, a free ebook, it's something in return for something else. So it's still transactional, but you're providing value. And with those lead magnets, you can put those on your website. You can promote them through social media. You can do all kinds of things to draw attention to what is essentially a landing page that says, hey, give me your information. I'm going to give you something else.
Love it. I love it. What would you suggest to a business if ebook, and I know, look, maybe I'm revealing too much, but I'm like, you can get ebooks from PL,
Yeah.
to be fair. And I'm just like, I know these things are so simple. I've only ever seen one coach do something. I was like, oh, shit, that's ballsy. That is, and that was, I think that was 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝐺𝐶 or something like that. And he gave away the whole coaching course. He went, this is a £5,000 coaching course. This is everything you need to be certified to become a coach. And I was like, I never clicked on it. To be fair, I actually never clicked on it. I was like, my God, you just give away everything. And I know Tony Robbins says, give everything away for free and they'll come and flock to you. And then you can up sales and things like that. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So where do you see the real value in what you do, Andrew? Because like I said, there's going to be a lot of people that give you fake emails.
Mhm.
So and then we'll go into like the part of who you've actually worked with and who you've helped and how that, because you talked to me about the return on investment, which everybody's obsessed with. Return on investment is the putting the money in and getting the money out, and I get that. So what have you seen and done that's been like this is why little nudge marketing works? Because the fact that you said send them an email in 2 to 3 weeks, I'm like, holy shit, that's I would have thought that's too long, but that's like bang on. So Andrea, talk to me about that process of that little nudge marketing and why it works.
Absolutely, yeah. And that is really going to be different for every business and every audience because
Yeah.
every audience is different. But what I really focus on in supporting small businesses is making small changes that are, basically affordable initially, because marketing can be very expensive, especially if you're hiring a large firm and you're trying to, create a whole bunch of user journeys and templates and everything all at once. So by changing small things here and there, you're doing incremental growth, which is more sustainable. So basically, if you were to come to me and say, I want to start promoting my other courses, we'd say, okay, let's take a look at your audience. Let's find the people who have already purchased courses. We're going to start promoting to them with one nurture sequence, and we're going to see how that performs. And if we start to see increased revenue from that one flow, then we can say, okay, what can we do next? And so over time, we slowly build up your email marketing strategy to be more robust and bring in returning users and keep nurturing people and prevent people from dropping off entirely. So, you may have someone who purchased a course 6 months ago and you never hear from them again. Through email marketing, we can keep that conversation going and bring them back to purchase another course.
I love it. This is, and it kind of sounds like you've simplified it an awful lot. It's a minefield.
Yes.
Again, but this might be my belief system of, my God, it's overwhelming being a coach with all the different things that we have to do to try and, with all the social media platforms and things like that. There's so much out there. I was just talking to you about TikTok before. I'm like, oh my God, TikTok's actually the fear I had about TikTok. I'm like, oh my God, TikTok's so good. Even though I'm nearly 50 I'm 50 this year. I'm like, oh my God, I love TikTok. I've just found TikTok absolutely fantastic. What's the process of, well, tell me if you're allowed, tell us some of the companies that you've worked with and how you've been able to help them grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the companies I worked with, I'm not going to be able to name names, but I
No,
can
of
give you
course. No,
broad strokes.
Yes.
Was a company that provided resume writing services. And when I started working at that company, they were one of those companies that would send people upwards to 6 emails a day. Oh, yes, promoting services.
No way.
They they were also kind of creepy about how they use data. So part of what they would do is you'd upload your CV and it would get scanned by the same technology that a lot of companies in their HR departments use to scan resumes. So they would pull things like, your education level, your work history, your home address. And they were putting like your home address in the body of the email, which is all kinds of problematic and creepy. So, a couple of the things I did was, first of all, change the content of the emails to not be creepy. But I also significantly reduced the number of emails that were being sent every day. I was able to convince the powers that be that we should only be sending 3 or 4 emails a week versus a
Wow.
day,
To go from 6 a day to three a week.
which
They
is
must have
still a
been,
lot.
oh, that would have been squeaky bum. That would have been a squeaky bum time for them.
But even by reducing it that, um, and this was through multiple email flows that they had going. After I made all of these changes, we saw a revenue increase of almost 12%
That's huge.
just by changing those things. Um, Another company I worked with basically provided the tools that would allow like HVAC contractors and home improvement people to offer financing to their customers. Um, One of the simplest things I did with them was just slightly change the design of their emails so that it was more scannable. Because a lot of their customers, they maybe have 20 minutes in the morning to check their email and then they're off to a job site. So they needed to be able to digest that content very, very quickly. So just by making those small changes, the sales team saw, if I remember correctly, about a 5% increase in the number of leads coming in. So those are kind of a couple of the things I've been able to do.
So now, so just to double down on what you've done there, you've got behind the psychology of how long they've actually got to look at an email. So the psychology of that is they've got to want to click on the email in the first place, which is going to be the email heading, isn't it?
Yeah, the subject line, yes.
The subject line, and then it's got to be super quick because people are in outside. That's clever. Then there's got to be, everyone always says call to action, call to action, call to action. I don't think I've ever clicked on a call to action. I'm just like, no, if I don't want it, I just delete and move it out of the way and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So what's the I don't want to say an old antiquated term here, but what is the operation system that you use then with the amount of things that's out there, such as I'm guessing Kit and Mail Monkey, whatever what is it, Mail Monkey?
MailChimp.
MailChimp. MailChimp. What is the best for you? What is the best operating system for you to use? Simplifying it, making it easy, automating it. What's the best one?
It it really depends on what your goals are, um, and what you need to get out of the system. Um, I mean, for me personally, I'm a really big fan of Customer IO, Klaviyo, and Message Gears, and all for very different reasons. Um, so Customer IO is a customer engagement platform that does email, it does SMS, it does in-app, all of those things. And it can integrate really well with various systems, and it's very user-friendly. It doesn't always need an engineer involved to write code. Um, Klaviyo, I think, is really, really great for an e-commerce
Say that one
because
again, Flavio.
Klaviyo,
Clavio, never heard of it, you see.
yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, and yeah, I like Klaviyo because it's got a really clean user interface. It can do all of the things you would expect a robust email marketing platform to do. And I think it integrates really, really well with things like Shopify and WooCommerce and other e-commerce sort of systems. Um, Message Gears is a really, really great one for data privacy because it sits on top of user data. So a lot of CRMs and email systems actually make a copy of your data and store it internally. Message Gears just connects directly with your data. So if you're in something like healthcare where you need to keep that data siloed and safe, it's a really, really good option.
I'm laughing because we always want to give away so much information in a podcast, but even though we're giving away as much information in a podcast, I'm just going to say it right now. Just get in contact with Andre. Do you know what? All the coaches out there are going to be like, oh, well, I can do it because we all want to do it ourselves. We want to
Yeah.
save money. We want to be able to optimize and learn things. But never heard of message gears, never heard of Klaviyo, and I'm like, that's 2 months of my life I'm going to lose trying to learn that system and process.
Yeah.
So they all give you the free video course to go and do it
Mhm.
yourself and stuff like that. And I'm just like, nah, absolutely not. So
Yeah.
that's absolutely fantastic, Andrea. Now,
Yeah.
what we do want to give away is 3 tips. Always 3 tips for start this, do this, and see this.
Yeah.
So, Andrea, I'm never going to work with you. So you, and I know for a fact no, that's not actually true, but I'm saying for someone watching this podcast, that like, right, Andrea, give me some gold. Give me some gold right now. The 3 things that somebody wants to do to start their email marketing tomorrow, that they're going to walk away and go, thank you so much, Andrea. You absolutely changed my life, and I never even had to work with you. What's the 3 things they have to do?
Sure. Uh, Number one would be check your compliance. Uh, Depending on where you live in the world, make sure you're either following GDPR or CAN spam or whichever. So that usually involves having an unsubscribe function, having a privacy policy, and making sure that your data is secure and managed. Um, the second big thing, make sure you have thought through who you want to target and why. And then thirdly is understand what kind of data you are collecting and why and how you plan to use it. Because you don't want to collect unnecessary data. You want to collect data that will inform your larger communication strategy.
Yeah, I've got a feeling there's 2 more. I don't think 3 is enough, actually, to be fair. I think
Uh, no.
because even though we've kind of touched on it, after you've got your check your compliance and your data security, the who and the why and the how and what for, which
Mhm.
is good. Then you've got to go, what's the psychology between how many emails that you sent? What's the
Yeah.
consistency that people are looking for?
And it depends. Um, it really depends on what type of business you have, what you're selling, who your audience is. There's a lot of factors, and it really goes into larger marketing plans. Because I think one of the important things to remember with email is it's never just the email. The email is a vehicle to get the end user to do something. So most of the time, you want the end user to go to a web page to do something, whether it's make a purchase or sign up for an event or book a call. So you really have to think through, okay, if I send this email, what do I want the end user to do when they get to my website? So you have to really think beyond the email and think about your whole marketing strategy.
This is why we need Andrea in his life. This is genuinely now what we're doing is we're creating a value of what Andrea brings to the world. That's because this is actually probably more powerful than I thought it was going to be. So this is Andrea, this is what a great start to 2026. Because just on those 5 things that somebody could start doing tomorrow, that's a lot of time.
Mhm.
That's a lot of time you're going to lose from I'll quote one of the business coaches of being in the business, not on the business. I don't know if I've
Right.
said that right. You don't want to be in the business. You want to be, what is it, the word? I know every business coach in the entire world.
Uh, I don't know the exact phrase. I know where you're getting to, though.
Yes. Because you're going to get consumed by this. So because
Yes.
someone's going to be like, well, why do I want it with Andrea? Andrea's just given me a 5-point plan. I can go and start doing that tomorrow. That's going to take you a month. That's minimum for you to start understanding that. That is going to be a month of your life gone.
Mhm.
And that's why this is how we incentivize the value of all these amazing businesses that are out there that are here to help. And I think one of the best things that I always remember is to how to value your time is if you, for instance, let's say Andrea charges £50 an hour. I'm not saying that you do or you don't, All right, let's say I get Andrea 4 hours a week. That's £200. That is genuinely probably going to cost me a month's hard work. And let's say I value my time at £100 an hour. Not that there's any difference, but then now you're looking at 2 months of me 10 days, 10 hours a day. Well, actually, I'm going to lose out on that working with the clients and the coaches when I could have actually outsourced that. So that balance of looking at what we're outsourcing and how much time and resources it takes for you to go, actually, Andrea, you do that. That's where the value is. I think that's going to be a really powerful concept for people to do, is how do we value the time to get that maximum increase in our return on investment? Andrea, this was a Bobby Dazzler of a podcast. I'm sure you have more that you want to talk about. So hit me with the good stuff right now, Andrea.
I mean, I could probably talk for hours about email because I'm a huge geek about it. I mean, we could probably touch on just design of email real quickly, because I think that's an important thing.
Perfect.
A lot of the systems out there are based on like the drag and drop builder,
Yeah.
which are great. Like they can do really, really well. And I think it's important to, if you are designing your own email and using that drag and drop builder, make sure you take a look at how that looks on mobile. Because about 50% of people opening emails are looking at them on their cell phone. So if it doesn't look on your cell phone, people aren't going to engage with it. And that's kind of my tip number one for design of an email.
I never even knew that. Never even thought
Yeah.
about that. So what's going to set the world alight with a design then?
Again, it depends. It depends on the audience. I actually did an experiment at the finance company I worked at when I was trying to figure out the audience. I did an A/B test of an email that was all text and a fully designed email that had images and everything. And I learned from that audience that the text only email overwhelmingly outperformed the one that was nicely designed.
With pretty pictures.
Yeah, that audience just did not care about pictures.
So I'm guessing, because looking at the psychology of that, because if they're numbers people, they're not going to
Hmm.
want the fluff. They're just going to want details
Right.
and facts. See, now that just there. Surely I'll be fluff then. I'm like, if you send me an email that's just words, I'm like, delete. I want pictures. I want fluff. But
Yeah,
that's the psychology behind the person that you're wanting to work with.
right. And when you talk about design psychology, it is counterintuitive, uh, because people are more likely to interact with something that has images of people because we tend to see ourselves in those images. So it really was an interesting experiment because it was so counterintuitive. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you're selling. That's why, retailers tend to have a lot more images in their emails because they want to highlight the products.
Yeah, of course. So there's going to be somebody's watching this because they might be new to the game. They might just be on the journey and they go, what the hell is an A/B test? I actually, when you said it, I'm like, oh my God, I actually know what an A/B test is. But let's explain what an A/B test is, because
Yeah.
that's super important.
Yes. So an A/B test, you are taking at least two variations of your content and pitting them against each other. So one of your messages is your control, where you're doing what you've always done. And then you make one change, and that is your B test, so that you have something to compare to. So let's say you have your email and you want to try an image on one and not have an image on the other. So your control is the one without the image, your test is the one with the image. You're going to run those at the same time. Usually a portion of your audience about 20% of your audience. You're going to see which one performs better. And whichever version performs better, that's the version you send to the remaining 80% of your audience. That is...
This is genius. Seriously, Andrea, because the whole point of doing the podcast is like, look, give it all away. Just give. I mean, that right there, for someone who's saying, well, I'm already an email marketer, I'm already like doing all these things, but oh, I've never done an A/B test before.
Yes.
Oh, I've never done an A/B test. I didn't know that. That's fantastic because that's how you monitor, which is where the data-driven part will come from, is that's where you're going to monitor the return on investment, the data, and the testing of it. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and that's ultimately how you optimize your campaigns, is by running those experiments and finding out what's actually working.
I love it. Andrew, is there anything else you want to share on the podcast today?
I mean, I think that's about it. Like I said, I could keep rambling.
I know. Because you've got so much information. No, you've got so much information.
I do.
The best way someone to genuinely find out is like, look, speak to Andrea.
Yeah.
Let's find out what Andrea can do for you. Are based in the Netherlands, aren't you?
Yes.
Absolutely. But you are originally from
the United States.
Whereabouts in the United States? Are we allowed to ask? I don't think being an American is a word these days.
I don't live there anymore, so it's fine.
No.
I'm from the St. Louis, Missouri area, which is kind of in the middle for folks who aren't familiar.
So my knowledge of St. Louis is that, have they got a big arch structure?
Yes.
And I know that, so I always refer, like, you know, when Slumdog Millionaire won the Millionaire Jackpot, and it's funny the things that we remember. So my knowledge of, I've got quite a good American sports thing, so I know about is it the St. Louis Cardinals? I think it's the
St. Louis Cardinals, yep.
It is. However, my actual reference of St. Louis is National Lampoon's Vacation, where they go to St. Louis and they go into Wally World, and I think they get their car broken into and their wheels stolen.
Yes.
They go off the wrong road. But isn't it weird, the memories that pop up for St. Louis? I'm like, oh, I remember the bridge, and I remember Clark Griswold going through with his family. What a strange random reference of how I know where St. Louis is. Look, this was absolutely a joy, Andrea. And for anybody who's in the coaching world, you know, you're looking for those leads, you're looking for those extra conversations. We did it through networking, to be fair, because I know we were at a networking event and stuff like that. And I genuinely, when you had a conversation about what you did, I emailed you straight away on LinkedIn. I'm like, I think we need to chat. Genuinely, I've got a few questions about that. So that was brilliant. Andrew, you've been a joy. Is there anything else you want to share with the world right now on the Mind Management Mentors podcast?
I would just say, yeah, I mean, if you've got questions about your email marketing, or you just want to chat, go ahead and connect with me. I'm happy to meet you and talk about whatever.
Perfect. Andrea, you've been an absolute joy. Thank you very much for being on the Mind Management Mentors podcast. So if you are a coach, as I wrap up, if you are a coach and you're wanting to get away as much information out of it as you can, how you drive and start your business, I will say for 2026, you have to start looking about where you want to focus and prioritize your time in what you're doing within your business, because you can get consumed with email marketing, lead magnets, grow your community, start your courses, go networking. At what point are you going to be like, well, when do I work with the clients? When do I work with the clients? And that's where the power of outsourcing allows you to work with your clients. So for 2026, the Mind Management Mentors is how can you outsource so that you can give more? And as always, please remember, if it's in the mind, it can be managed. Big love from Cuddy, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Mind Management Mentors podcast.